Ladies and gentlemen, the leaks saga of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League continues to unfold because the original leaker who has gone into the code file for the game has discovered more things from the code and is actually saying that some of the rumors and leaks going around initially are not true based upon further deep dive into the leaks. If we can, let's get this video to 500 likes. And once again, spoilers ahead for the game. This is all coming from Miller, by the way. I find it amusing that the game and DC are striking me despite not showing anything from the leaks, as opposed to this guy who is literally going into the game code and uncovering all of this shit and is the original source of the leaks. I find that to be very interesting. And he's also subtweeted me, and he's done podcasts with other YouTubers. I've been lectured by other YouTubers as well for discussing the leaks. And one in particular you can see here. Here are the last 5 videos that he's done. And this is the guy virtue signaling on Twitter along with this Miller guy uh, for quote unquote discussing the leaks, when every single video that they make, and Miller is the guy going into the source file and actually uncovering this shit and giving all this information, and DC's not going after him, they're going after me, which I find to be amusing. But anyway, all right, let's jump in here. So before the closed alpha for Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League wrapped, a screenshot of a text purporting to tell the game's narrative began making the rounds online. Even at face value, it was full of plainly stated omissions. IDKY, something happened, someone probs Deadshot, can't remember why, maybe Red Sun, etc. And it was very vague in terms of what it left out and didn't include, etc. The source for the leak was Darius Appreciation Server on Discord, where many of the more notable members of the Mortal Kombat Leaks community sought refuge after their previous server was shuttered, following legal scrutiny from WB Games. The loose retelling of the story, later described as being recalled from memory after a brief listen to a selection of cutscene dialogue and accompanying visual assets, were shared by the Mortal Kombat modder and data miner Mophead and subsequently spread on Reddit. Many across social media have spent the weeks since the leaks debating their authenticity, but a black and white real or fake paradigm muddies the waters and affords bad actors the opportunity to rage bait clicks out of their perspective. It's just not that simple. Death became the main element of the leak that caused outrage was the assertion that not only is Conroy's Batman indeed killed, but also that he gets killed in a disrespectful manner by Harley Quinn specifically. An image showing Harley pointing a gun at Batman appeared online, and then the audio purporting to include those final moments. A video combining the two went viral and sparked condemnation from major YouTubers like Dreamcast Guy, Batman is Dead, Rocksteady ruined the Arkhamverse, etc. But he's not dead. Dun dun dun. Data mining Unreal Engine 4 isn't difficult. The engine is used across the industry, so documentation and existing tools are everywhere. But what you uncover, especially from a game you've never played, has to be taken with a grain of salt. So some online were quick to draw the parallel to Rocksteady's last title, Arkham Knight, which included hallucination-induced cutscenes. If only more had heeded that warning. Make no mistake, the Justice League survives the events of Suicide Squad. From what I've been able to uncover through my own data mining and from a month of research and counting, each death is presented with several hints to the audience that they're fake-outs. Flash's death takes place away from the prying eyes, with many questions whether or not it happened. Later in the game, Task Force X attempts to storm Brainiac's ship, but are thwarted by a shield apparition created by Green Lantern. After Deadshot, who famously never misses, finally lands the killing blow, Green Lantern to his death, but the shield stays up. "Why'd you miss?" Captain Boomerang asked. Deadshot laughs unknowingly under his breath. And sure enough, both heroes return in seasons 2 and 3 of post-launch respectively. By the end of their Brainiac storyline, set up by the base campaign, the Justice League are reunited with their revenge to get their revenge against the multiversal supervillain, the Task Force X. These piecemeal reintroductions also mark perfect opportunities for the Justice League to be playable, however briefly. There's a lot that's outright omitted from the build distributed during the closed alpha that myself, Mophead, and others have access to. I spoke earlier about Flash and Green Lantern surviving, but I don't know exactly how Flash survives. But if you're thinking that only bits and pieces here, you're wrong. There are over 60 hours of dialogue alone stashed in the asset packages from the alpha client, an overwhelming majority of which consist of unsorted files with hashes for names. There are conclusions that one can draw, but they require an immense amount of research over the course of weeks, if not months, and early conclusions can be deceptive, as new findings will frequently broaden one's understanding beyond what had once seemed like facts. Okay, so he also later goes on to discuss here that Killer Croc is going to be playable in DLC and various things like this. But the thing that I find to be very interesting is that he's saying here that all of the deaths are fake outs. And one thing that I actually think is super interesting about this is because I had just watched a night or two ago, I had watched the one thing I find interesting about this is just last night or the night before, I watched Justice League Doom. And the concept of Justice League Doom is that Batman on the Batcomputer, he has all these plans to take down the Justice League. And it's basically like the secret weaknesses of everybody on the Justice League, right? And those plans are stolen by Vandal Savage. And the movie is about how basically kind of the Suicide Squad, but it's not really. It's the Legion of Doom use Batman's plans against the Justice League against them, right? And so what it shows, seemingly, is all of the Legion of Doom killing the Justice League members, but most of them thought that they killed the Justice League, but they actually survived, right? And so that was kind of the concept of the movie, is that there's a little bit of a fake out where there's one moment where they're like, oh shit, okay, we killed Superman because we shot him with a kryptonite bullet. Oh, we killed Martian Manhunter because he's like literally on fire and jumping into water and it's not going out, right? But it turns out that all of those heroes survived. You know, eventually they take the kryptonite bullet out of Superman and various things like this. So, but the Legion of Doom were really under the impression that they had killed the Justice League. So what he's kind of implying is that there are these moments where they're trying to insinuate to the audience that the Justice League are being killed by the Suicide Squad, and they're under the impression that they are killing them, but in fact they are surviving these attempts, and perhaps they're going to come back all at the end. And when they actually take out, by the end of the game, if they're able to take out Brainiac, actually that's going to free them from the mind control, and actually all these characters are going to survive. But what this individual, this leaker here, is suggesting is that there actually is going to be a good send-off for Batman. It is not going to be the scene that we thought is going to be the send-off for Batman. So I find this to be very interesting, and I want to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Again, this individual who I'm reading the article from, he's the one who's going through all of the source files from the alpha and reading all of the shit and going in through all the cutscenes and identifying all of this. So he has more information than we do. Obviously, we saw that one scene, which didn't look good, and it was pretty upsetting to a lot of fans. I won't go into it, but I mean, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And we were pretty pissed about it. And however, if it ends up being the case that those were fake out scenes, that could potentially save them here. Now, it still doesn't address the broader question. And the broader question is, like, is this necessarily the game that fans wanted after Arkham Knight? Like, do I even want to play a game? Okay, sure, maybe let's assume this is all true and they fake out the deaths and really all the Justice League survives. Like, is that really what I wanted from this game after Arkham Knight? Would I rather have just played a Justice League game? Yes. So it doesn't necessarily address my broader criticisms about the game. However, it would be a relief to find out that maybe this game isn't going to be as triggering or quote-unquote problematic as we first thought. The other thing that this leaker says here is that there is footage in the or there is something to suggest that Killer Croc is going to be DLC, and also there will be a brief moment where you can play as some members of the Justice League in the DLC for the game. So again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what he suggests, is that there's a brief moment where you can play as them, probably as like some quick time event or something like that. But that's pretty interesting, although it will just piss fans off all the more if we can play as the Flash and Green Lantern. We're just going to be thinking, why the hell didn't we get a game where we can just play as them the whole time, But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what we get. That's the video. Be sure to like if you enjoyed, and see you guys in the next one. Peace out.